Did it let you hear that?
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Buck Hut Podcast, Episode 2. I am your host, Jacob Traynor, and today I have my father, Tony T-Bone Traynor, with me. What have you been up to?
After season deer watching is what I've been doing here lately.
Seems like you got to do a lot of that.
I've been seeing quite a few. As a matter of fact, today at noon there was 4 bucks out there. Only one of them had their antlers, so I could tell the other 3 were bucks by their undercarriage. So there's some of the bigger ones are still carrying their antlers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because last year the bigger ones seemed to drop their antlers before the younger ones did.
Yeah, it looked like one of the ones that was out there today, just by its body color, was an older deer, but they're 215 yards away, so it's a little harder to
tell. Did you go out there last night with Mom to record them in the food plot?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was pretty exciting. They started
happy to see your target buck.
What's that?
I said happy to see your target buck.
Yes, I was. Yeah. Hopefully he sticks around.
Yeah.
But we've got to tell the story about the target buck, though.
Okay. Why don't you tell the story about the target buck?
Okay. So 2 years ago, muzzleload season, I shot a 10-point. It's not a massive, but one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to take it was because I'd never killed anything with 10 points. The biggest was actually 8 points, which I've harvested several. So, it's a nice buck. I really like it. But this year, as we were viewing game cards, noticed a deer that looked identical to the one that I'd harvested the year before. So we had to do double takes on times, dates, and all that to make sure that it wasn't a picture from, the year before. And actually it wasn't. It was a twin deer that looked just like the one that I harvested. So that's the one we're talking about that I made it through this season too. So it's still running around and hopefully it'll make it until deer season this year, and we can put that one on a wall because I've never heard or seen something like that happen. Somebody getting twin deer. I mean, this one's going to look a little different because he is a little older. His tines are a little longer. He may end up having a little more mass, but still looks exactly like the one that I have on the wall.
Yeah. I guess he'll probably be close to 4. He'd probably be 4.5 this year, I would say, because like the one you killed was probably 2.5 or so. And he made it through this year. We put him at 3.5. So he might actually be pretty good size this year.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny. I think it was several nights ago, 3 or 4 nights ago, looking at deer out there because I got a food plot out there with turnips, and the deer just coming out there and just tearing it up like crazy. I think we had 10, 11 inches of snow on the ground, and they're out there just kicking this snow up and tearing these turnips up. But anyway, I saw that 10-point then. And just by looking at him, his neck is actually, and I know they're not rutting right now, but his neck is pretty good size. You can tell, by his hair color, it's more darker gray, so you can tell it's an older deer. So, yeah, I mean, I would guess probably around that same age, 4.5, something like that.
Yeah. Hopefully, some of them drop their sheds out there too. They're feeding out there that often.
Yeah, well, when we were sitting out there last night, I was just kind of glancing around to everything because, I mean, they're in that snow, you can just see deer tracks everywhere.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to see any just by sitting in the deer stand. But hopefully.
Any of it melting off yet, or is there still a bunch on the ground?
It's melting off because it's gradually getting warmer and warmer each day. And I think tomorrow is supposed to be in the 50s. So it's going to be a lot warmer to get rid of some of this.
That's good. Yeah, then it'll be a muddy mess for 3 months until it warms up.
Yeah, some of the spots that are already melted off. Yeah, it's already a muddy mess, but we didn't get in summertime into the fall and all that, we didn't get a whole lot of moisture, so
Yeah.
we needed,
Hopefully it'll help
yeah, especially for the pond, fill it back up.
fill the pond up, and then before you know it, you're gonna have to be putting crops and all that in the dirt.
Yeah,
I guess before we get into that, because that's something I want to ask about too. Uh, deer season 2020 or 2021, I should say, recap. One thing I thought of the other day that I hadn't really asked you yet, did you have any like concern or worry about, like, because you built your house and all that up there this year, that would have any effect on like the deer you would see or their movement, like how it would affect that?
yeah, I worried about it before deer season even hit, and not only that, we have a neighbor that was from Illinois that also moved here at the same exact time, so he was spending a lot more time around his property, our property, because they're side by side. Plus the construction we had going on with the building that we had built. Yeah, I worried about that, and I was like, well, it is what it is, because this is where I'm at. This is where I'm hunting. So, but when season started, early bow season, we were seeing a lot of bucks moving around. Quite a few deer. I mean, it was promising. When we go out there several times, you actually had some close opportunities of shooting some bucks, and but I don't know what happened. I was still trying to figure that out, but it was actually November 4th. I was sitting out there bow hunting. It was fairly warm outside, and actually, let me go back a little bit. That morning, I stepped out on my front porch and was just standing there looking around, and here I looked to, I was probably, I'm going to say 70 yards away. Here's this big buck standing there looking at me. And he saw me, and he, got spooked and took off running. So I was like, well, shoot, that I'll probably never see him again, or, who knows. But anyway, that night, I put, we have a decoy we use sometimes. I put this decoy out as a doe, and put a little scent behind it, because I had noticed, in the past week, the bucks were starting to push does a little more, and show a little more sign of the rut going on. So put a little scent behind it. I get up in the stand and I grunt, and within 5 minutes, here this buck that I just saw this morning shows up and comes straight to the decoy, 35, 40-yard shot. And I shot it, got it, was able to harvest that deer, watch him fall to the ground. It was great. It was just unbelievable. I'd never had any deer that I've ever shot do something like that, to and that quickly. It was still plenty of daylight. Like I said, I had just got up into the stand and got settled in, and then here he shows up. So but then from like I said, that was November 4th. From that day on, it just seemed like it was terrible.
Yeah.
As well, yeah, we were hunting every morning, every night, and just weren't seeing any bucks. If we saw any bucks, they were little bitty 6 points, or even smaller than that, little spikes. And weren't even hardly seeing the does. And then I don't know, I hunted the whole entire season, never had during gun season, muzzleload season, in the bow season, never had another opportunity to harvest another deer. I think there were 2 weeks left of bow season, and I actually saw a big one up in the front of our property that was eating on some beans out with a bunch of does. There was probably 12 deer out there, but and there was another smaller buck that was probably an 8 with him too, but they never came into range. But I don't know, it just seemed like there was no deer around. It was like they've vanished.
Yeah,
but now we're starting to see them again coming out and eating, especially with this snow on the ground. They're trying to find food, and we're starting to see, even on cameras and just on foot. Some of the ones that made it through deer season, and
Right. Yeah, there's definitely still a lot of good bucks around.
Yeah, there's some that I've had on camera back in the end of postseason that I haven't seen yet on foot. So, but they were on camera, so we'll just see. Maybe they're just not around right now.
Yeah, hopefully my big guy's still out there too.
Yeah, it's after doing this for several years, especially with game cameras, because we've got quite a few of them out there. Just seeing the bucks that show up that you may only see one or two times. You don't know whether somebody harvested them or whether they left or what. Then the next year rolls around and you start seeing, hey, there's of course, the one we call the twin 10.
Right.
Here he's, and then you see these other ones that you've seen all season, and then all of a sudden something pops up and you'd be like, where'd that big buck come from? I've never seen that one before. It's amazing how it works.
Yeah, that was funny about that. Like the one Leonidas, whatever, that I was kind of wanting to see or encounter, get after, or whatever. It was like I just had the expectation, like from between the first and second time we got pictures of him, it was like exactly a month. And then again after that, it was like exactly a month. And then I think one more time, it was like 3 weeks or a month or something like that. I was like, okay, like I don't really expect to like see him around a lot. Like he's just passing through, like on the edge of his range or something. But like that twin 10, every time we pulled camera cards, that dude was on there, but we never saw him, never had an encounter with him till after season now. So I don't know. It's just hard to predict, but it's definitely nice to have those just to you can kind of get an idea for what to expect at least.
Yeah. Well, and that was what we noticed too during the hunting season. When we were out there hunting, we weren't seeing the deer, but when we pull camera cards, we'd see the deer.
Right.
So they were just roaming at night for some reason. They just didn't want to come out at the day. It happens, but they're not getting. I mean, I don't think they're getting a whole lot of pressure around here. We've got other neighbors that don't even hunt at all, and there's some deep hardwoods, and I don't know.
So you got to think about that. They have a lot of cover in that woods. Like that might be a couple thousand acres of woods. Like it's huge.
And not only, they've got that to the north of our property, and they've got that to the south of our properties.
And there might even be even more to the south. I think I hadn't looked at that too much before, but I think the last time I pulled it up, I scrolled down. I was like, man, on that map, it was like twice the woods that we had to the north. It was kind of crazy, but there's a lot of fences and stuff like that they probably don't like dealing with in that way. It's probably why, and you got the road to cross. It's probably why we don't really see them coming from that way. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of cover for them.
That too, the property to the south is what 500 some acres.
Yeah,
and it doesn't get hunted that hard at all. It gets hunted very little.
Right.
So they're not getting a whole lot of pressure there. And then there is a family to the north that's way back down in those hardwoods that they do a lot of deer hunting, and they're probably the ones that are the closest to us that probably harvest the most deer because of their family, because they're meat eaters.
Right.
But the other ones around us, that there's not much pressure, and then they're not hunted hard. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, during the rut, I guess what we consider to be the time of the rut, like rifle season. I don't know if they were rutting then or not, but I assume they were just holding up in that. I don't really know where else they could have been, because that's literally is crazy, because early season, that's probably the best. Like that's the most deer encounters I've ever had. Like I had more encounters early season than I've had hunting over a couple of years. But then like that was literally the worst rifle season of my life.
Yes, it was.
We did not see anything.
Funny, because the year before, I mean, we were seeing bucks all over the place and chasing does like crazy.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
It was completely different.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. Yeah, and it wasn't even like just like the timing thing. Like we didn't like we saw them during rifle season last year doing that, but we didn't see them at all, like before or after rifle season doing that. I guess we saw the buck making the scrape, the two bucks come out that one night, those young bucks, and make the scrape in the field, which was pretty cool. But other than that, that was like the only rut activity we witnessed.
Yeah. I know.
The other thing that I realized, we didn't see a whole lot of does either,
No,
like all season.
no, but we're sure seeing them now.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, the last 2 weeks of bow season, when I saw the one bigger buck up to the front of the property eating beans, there were, there's probably about 12 deer total.
Mhm.
So that was, that I don't think any of them were losing their antlers yet, but then, but so I'd say a lot of them were does, but yeah, we didn't see. I think there was one night we saw 3 does, but they were younger does and a little yearling, and that was probably the does we saw in one sit at all.
Weird too, because we'll have times on camera where there's like 12 does out in the field at one time.
Yeah. Well, especially, yeah, I'm getting that now.
Yeah. Have you checked camera cards lately?
It's been a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And actually, I only pulled, I fired the feeder back up, so I only pulled a couple of cards. I didn't pull them all.
Yeah. Did you fill the barrel feeder too by the big deer stand?
No, not yet.
Gotcha.
Co-op
What's that?
Co-op was out of corn, so I haven't called them back.
That's what I was gonna ask, if you found anywhere else yet.
Not yet, because it's 11 inches of snow on the ground makes it a little difficult.
Right. In the game pod, is it definitely the turnips they're digging up, or they're just digging at the hole?
Oh no, your mom took a picture of one that you could actually see the turnip in the side of its mouth when it was chewing on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to have her get. I don't know if she sent that one to you or not, because you got to look really close to. She thought it was the deer's tongue, but it was actually a turnip in the side of its mouth.
Yeah. Did you watch the video she took?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that camera's pretty impressive.
It is, especially that far away.
Yeah, and it's like not a real expensive camera either. Like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, you need to order a tripod, because we can set that thing up in deer stand. Or I don't know. You could. I mean, the way that thing videos, like, if I bought one, we each of us could literally have one. Then we wouldn't have to be messing with our own camera, and you could get it all the way across, because we hunt in close proximity to each other, that you could just video mine. I could video yours. Like, it zooms that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even today, when those deer come out today, I kind of snatched up on her camera and took some pictures, but I'll have to have her look at them and see what she thinks of those too. I'll probably send those to you.
Cool.
Because this is the second time that they've come out in the middle of the day around noon, just coming out there on those turnips. It's crazy.
Seeing them in the morning at all, or is it all like afternoon, evening?
Afternoon, evening. I haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen any. And there was actually, I take that back. It might have been the day after or 2 days after when the snow hit. I got up pretty early and saw something out there eating in the turnips early morning, and then once the sun good and got up, it took off. So
yeah. How many turkeys were out there through the woods or whatever?
It was hard to count, because trying to see and pinpoint each one of them through the trees. I know there was at least 10, but they were all hens. But
I had turkeys this time of year.
Well, I had back before bow season even hit. I remember it was raining. It was really nasty outside, and I was in the house looking out the window, and we still had that patch of Milo in, and around the corner of that Milo, here comes those 10 hens out there feeding in that Milo, and which was probably the same birds I saw last night. But
when was that?
Oh, it was the end of summer.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
It's been quite a while, because I was telling your mom last night that was the first time I'd seen any.
Hold on. All right. Gotta figure that out next time. What were you saying? You told mom
Anyway,
what?
I told mom that that was the first time I'd seen any turkeys since then, since that time.
Yeah.
Because during winter, we just don't usually see them.
No. Yeah. Once.
And they're there. I mean, there's no doubt they're there.
Right. Probably same thing. Probably just hung up in the woods.
Yeah, not having to travel as far.
Yeah. Did you know they eat acorns?
Yes, I saw that on Ranella.
Oh, that's right. I forgot where I saw that. Yeah, they cut it open. I was like, man, big old freaking acorn in there.
Yeah, yeah, because I was watching that when you called me or whatever.
Oh, really?
Text. Yeah.
I wish they would release more episodes at once because I blow through those in like a day.
Well, I already did.
Yeah, they're so good. Like
Yeah.
I love his narration, and like the film is just incredible. Like everything's shot perfectly. Like, you just tell they spend a lot of money on making like a movie out of it.
Yeah, and the nice part or the thing that I really like is, they go out and they're either catching these fish or they're harvesting these animals, and then they come back and they cook them.
Yes,
And
that's my favorite part too.
That's
And
awesome.
he's not afraid to shoot raghorn bull or like a spike buck. Like he's in it for the conservation and the meat. Like
meat eater.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about it too. That's why I'm like, I don't know, probably less of a trophy hunter now after watching that show, just because I like eating the meat. I need to make some of those burgers, freeze you a pack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're good. They're like Steak and Shake or like Freddy's. They got like a real thin patty. That's how they do them. So then I just stack like 6 of them up, cut right through them. Giant bite of burger. Don't got to put anything on it. It's pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely try it.
Oh, you would eat the hell out of them. You thought about anything what you want to do for food sources next year?
Oh goodness, I've been thinking about it, but I don't know. I mean, I definitely the clover patch to the north. I want to do something different there, which is why I wanted to get that other food plot seed and try that because it's got some alfalfa in there, which is really good. See if maybe we get that to grow.
What else is in it? Is it like clover and stuff too, or
hickory and some clover and alfalfa. I know were the 3 main things. Without having the bag in hand and seeing the tag, I don't know what else is in it because I'm sure there's some other stuff in it too.
Yeah.
But and then I think because we've had pretty good success with the turnip food plot the past couple of years with the stuff that we've been getting, I think we're going to do the same with that again.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back in with some beans and some corns. I was telling your mom this year I'm leaving this stuff in.
I agree.
Just to leave this stuff in. For one, they'll have the food as long as they need it, and then they'll have cover also from the corn and that might, as far as seeing stuff a little better too. So yeah.
With that fall plot though, it seemed like last year they hit it a lot earlier and then didn't really touch it in the winter, and now it's like the opposite this year. They didn't touch it like at all during season. I mean, the bucks and stuff would go out there and kind of mosey around in it, but they weren't hammering it like they did last year. But then now they're like out there. Of course, there's a lot of snow on the ground. The food's probably limited availability, but they're definitely hammering it now. And I don't even think they touched the turnips last year.
No. And that's I was saying something about that the other night to your mom that we planned it's the same exact stuff we've done the last 2 years, but last year the turnips didn't grow as well because we didn't have near as much moisture in the ground. But then that stuff had winter wheat in it and some fescue, some other stuff in it. And that stuff's what really took off last year. And the deer were just running out there to it to eat on that. Now, this year, none of that grew and only the turnips grew.
Oh, okay.
So that was the
Makes
difference.
sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this year it's just full of turnips, and they're all sizes. I mean, I saw one out there that was the size of a softball.
Wow.
They're tearing them up this year.
That's good. Uh, when do you think you're gonna start putting mineral and stuff out again?
Well, it's kind of gonna depend on the weather. I mean, the two spots that we normally use the Lucky Buck in was a lot of that was still sitting on top because we hadn't had any rain, hadn't had any snow or whatever. So we needed that to kind of get down into the soil first before I put more out.
Yeah. Do you think like taking like a 5 gallon bucket of water out there and just letting it soak in would be any more beneficial? Or?
I don't know, just because of I don't know what's in the water.
That's a good point.
Any kind of odd chemicals other than rain. I don't know
I
if you
forgot
want to.
about that because some people they'll dig a hole and put like a rubber stock tank or something in the ground.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you got to consider is like you got to fill it with like natural water because you don't know what's in your water.
Which the best way for that is you just set up a little gutter system off of your buildings and let it run into a 55-gallon drum, and then you've got plenty of water to do.
Hell, you do something where you could set it up in like, I don't know, something where it wouldn't be as pain in the ass to deal with.
I tell you what, with as big as
system or something,
the water that's coming out, especially right now with this snow melting, I could probably fill a fire truck with all this water that's coming off.
Oh yeah, it takes no time. That's what I was thinking about on my run yesterday. I was like, there's places in the world that like there's people living and they're just like dying of thirst and stuff, like desert places. I assume places in like Africa and stuff like that, where it's like really hot all the time and dry. And then we just have all this water just sitting on the ground. Yeah, just a weird realization.
No, but it happens. I mean, the world's different everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember back when I was younger, even younger than you, and deer season rolled around, the 10 or 11 inches of snow we got on the ground right now is what we were getting then.
Yeah.
We're not getting that anymore, so everything's changing.
Right. Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, our winter doesn't really kick off till January, like
right. Yeah.
at the end of January. Because like last year when y'all were moving out of your house and we were like moving all the stuff up into the storage container up there, what was it, like 0 degrees for 2 weeks straight in February?
Yeah, and we had some snow on the ground then too.
Whereas I feel like before, when I was growing up, like winter was kind of ending by February. Like you were starting to get some warm days and stuff, and it was starting to kind of get into spring.
Yeah. I remember there were still days in December. It was warm enough outside. You were outside in a t-shirt.
Yeah, there were a couple days like that in January too.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always said the seasons are shifting, but I don't know nothing about that scientific crap.
Yeah, you're going to be a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist on climate change now.
Yeah.
That we don't want to get into that on this podcast.
No.
Let the other people take care of that. This is deer hunting.
Yeah, but that and now on to the next phase because turkey season's just right around the corner.
Yes, I'm very excited for that. Turkey season and fishing time.
That too.
It's a 2-for-1 there. Yeah, I hope the predator management helps the turkey population this year because we didn't really see a whole lot of birds last year.
Well, and that's the other thing I'm going to do too. Here before too long is try to start knocking down some coyotes if possible.
Yes.
Try using the predator call and see if we can call them in. Because I know they're out here. I heard them last night. I know they're here.
Yeah, I wish they weren't so hard to trap. You got the one, but they're smart, especially around there. Because didn't someone used to like professionally trap them, like sell them live or something?
Yeah, the neighbor was telling me that somebody came and asked him if he could trap on his property live ones just so they could use them to train dogs.
Yeah. I
We're
don't know.
paying.
Maybe they're kind of timid from that or something, but they're just smart in general somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah. Nature's pain in the ass.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Do you
I
think
like coons too.
what's up?
Come. Would like to try to get some more coons out of here too. Come trapping season again.
Have you heard anything more about them extending the season?
I haven't heard anymore. It's supposed to happen this year.
Like they're implementing it this year or they're gonna decide on it this year?
I thought they were going to implement it this year. I thought that was a email that I read.
The part about that though, like hunting them's one thing, but like the traps, they pretty much just freeze up unless you're setting them up. Not like trapping in this much snow right now. That's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
I don't know how successful it'd even be if they did extend it. Someone actually I guess they found my YouTube or something and followed me on Instagram. They sent me a message. They're asking my opinion on they said they're excited about trapping content that I'm gonna be posting. And they sent a screenshot of like the NBC thing and were asking my opinion on them extending the season. I said I think it's a great thing, but I don't know how much it's really gonna do. One, because of what I just said with like traps freezing and all that. And two, there's just so little involvement that like it's just gonna be the same people trapping for longer. Like I don't really know that you're extending your reach. You're just giving those people that are already doing it more chances.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I'll be cool with it though. I mean, because on the warm days, I mean, especially once I get up there more, uh, I could do it then. Just kind of pick and choose which days I mess with it.
Well, that's what I noticed this morning. I checked the weather and it's showing that for the next 2 weeks here, temperatures are going to be reaching up into the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And they're still going to be getting down, freezing at night. But
of course, then now with all the snow and stuff too, like trapping in the mud is no fun. And then if it does get below freezing at night, that mud holds moisture, which ends up freezing, which I ran into a couple times this year.
Yeah.
That's just a tough situation. But man, I wish more people would get involved with it because it does make a huge difference. Like we literally pulled 3 bobcats off of the same, what is it, 1.5 inch circle of my trap pan. Like think about that. All 3 of those bobcats stepped in the same 1.5 inch circle. Like,
but all in that area too.
What's that?
All at the same set area too.
That's what I'm saying. The same piece of real estate they stepped on. Like that's not good for predators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure there's 3 times as many coyotes.
Well, you got to throw out there too. The very last one he caught was a 40-pound tom.
Yeah. So an old cat that's been eating a lot of shit for a long time.
Yeah. Taking care of probably some turkeys, turkey eggs, quail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why we're trying to eliminate that.
Yeah. We'll get into the predator management thing on another one because I got a lot of stuff to say about that.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's good enough for this one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll do it again.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. See ya.
All right. See ya.